The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from experts on such topics as legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to our experts in community association law, estate planning law, tax relief, Medicare, public insurance adjusters, neuropathy treatment, business brokers, and personal injury law, along with many other topics. Now here's your host for the last 17 years, Steve O.
And I'm going to say good afternoon to Florida because we really target Florida, but this show today is basically the entire eastern part of the United States. We also do a show in California, and I got to tell you, I am so grateful to have a show like this on Medicare. And I got to tell you, I'm really surprised. I'm looking at, wait a minute. I'm just looking at TikTok gave me a violation for saying live, but this is a live show. We will be talking about Medicare Advantage, and why the reason this show is so important is the demographics we're dealing with, people in their mid-60s on up. This is so confusing. And what I want to get across today on our show is how important it is to have an agent. It doesn't cost you anything. But I'm going to tell you something. Without an agent, you are going to get so lost, so confused. We have one of the finest agents in the United States. Let me introduce you to my friend, Stephen Fromm. Good afternoon, Stephen.
Good afternoon, Steve. As always, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here this afternoon and educate our audience on Medicare. We appreciate it.
I got to tell you, Stephen, I have learned so much from you. If you notice, I've got this great hat on, and I this whole show is an educational show, but I just want to tell you, when you find a company, Stephen is so nice to his clients that he gives them certain promotional items, so you're always going to have his name and phone number handy to you. And I have never in my 17 years seen a company like Stevens that puts so much time and effort to these promo items, because usually these promo items, they usually get just the cheapest ones. They are expensive. Not Stephen and his wife. From my little fan that's always on my desk, to my back scratcher, to my hat, my shirt, everything they do is first-hand quality, and that means that's how he handles his business. Stephen, tell people about your company, but also tell them how important customer service is.
Well, again, thanks again for the opportunity. My name is Stephen Fromm. I am the founder and owner of Fromm Insurance. We started this almost 8-9 years ago. And our primary goal is to help work with families and seniors regarding Medicare. As we all know, it can be very confusing, complex, overwhelming. I always say pick an adjective and that'll describe Medicare. Our goal is to educate the families we work with, provide information to help them make informed, educated decisions, as well as provide clarity on what we're talking about. We're not just talking about decisions today. We're talking about decisions that may happen in the future. My goal is to have client for life. I want to be there representative as things change. So that is what we do. We educate.
I got to tell you, whenever the government gets involved, Stephen, oh my God, they always make things more difficult than they need to be. But this is why it's so important to have a good agent who can basically direct you through all I call them the winding roads, because there's many of them. Before we start the show today, 'cause I love bragging on Stephen. He's written 2 books, and we're going to show them to you. Stephen, for those who can't view,
This
there
is
you
the first
go.
one we wrote.
For those who are listening audio, what's the name of your books?
This one's called The Medicare Breakdown, the alphabet soup of Medicare. And the one that we're working on right now is just called, whoops, let me do this real fast. It's called Medicare, the Essential Guide to Medicare, Retirement, and Protecting Your Future. So this is the big one that we're working on right now. And that will be ready in a couple weeks.
How in the world did you have time to write all that, Stephen?
Early mornings, late nights, having insomnia, staying up, writing books till 3, 4, or 5 o'clock in the morning. Trying to make Medicare exciting.
People who haven't gone into Medicare yet, I hear a lot of negative things, but that's just because they haven't experienced it yet. I love Medicare. It was the best investment I ever made in my entire life.
It's again, when I talk to a family, only they know their budget, they know their health history. So depending on, as we go through our needs analysis, we will discuss, hey, is original Medicare going to be better fit for you? Or is it Medicare Advantage going to be a better fit for you? And by doing the in-depth client needs analysis, we're able to make those assessments. Plus, for me, it's it's very simple questions as well. One of the very simple questions I always ask is, do you plan on traveling within the United States? And if someone says, yeah, I do, well, then that's kind of going to shift more, in my opinion, to original Medicare, because that'll allow that person to see any doctor or hospital in the United States that takes Medicare assignment. So, for example, we may have a family that's in Florida, but would like to go see a doctor in New Jersey. And, as long as that doctor takes Medicare assignment, well, it's pretty easy for them, compared to if they may be in a Medicare Advantage plan. And with some of the changes right now, moving more from a PPO model to an HMO model, be restrictive. If that doctor's not in network, well, that could cause an issue for them, having to see that doctor or pay. So again, doing a needs analysis will really help us determine whether or not we're going to talk about original Medicare more, or are we going to talk about, a Medicare Advantage plan. So very important question.
Stephen, I guess that's probably why I'm on Medicare Advantage, because I don't travel. So I guess that's a big thing. So when a person meets with you, like you said, you find out if they travel first, but you represent a lot of companies, Stephen. So you're going to be able to give people several choices, right?
Correct. We are currently contracted with 25 different companies. So as we do the needs analysis, and maybe they're looking at a Medigap plan, a Plan G or Plan N, we're going to evaluate the carriers in their zip code area to determine which carrier probably worked best for them. And then if looking at Medicare Advantage, it's based on your zip code, county, state, let's say, various carriers offer various plans. We're going to do that needs analysis. Hey, are your doctors in network? How are your medications covered? What other essential benefits are important to you? As you know, Medicare Advantage plans, they typically come with dental, vision, hearing benefits, and maybe an over-the-counter benefit, such as a food card, or maybe a gym membership. So you have to determine whether or not that's important to someone. So during that 45-minute needs analysis, we're able to, make assessments as to what would work best for that person. And again, only you know your budget, only you know your health history. I was just able to, matter of fact, help a veteran today, a veteran that is in one type of insurance and going to move to another type with the military. And he didn't know what to do. So through our conversation today, we were able to help him get properly aligned with the right Medicare plan, as well as educate him about the ancillary benefits we always talk about: cancer, heart attack, stroke, recovery care, home care. He was very interested in that because he wants to make sure that he's not going to use his retirement assets for large healthcare expenditures. He understood the value of the ancillary products, these non-taxable cash benefits. Don't want to use your retirement accounts because they're taxable, and you're going to have to pay taxes on the money that comes out. So if you need $30,000, for example, you're not taking $30,000 out. You're taking more than that. It's taxable, as well as we always talk about how that could increase your Part B premium or your Part D premium because of the IRMA. So everything is a process.
Stephen, we are getting tons of questions, and most of them are the same. And so I don't feel so bad because I was in their shoes at one time, and I didn't know the answer to this. People want to know, when do they sign up, at what age?
Sure, that's a great question. So it's called your initial election period, and it's 3 months before your birthday, the month of your birthday, and 3 months after. It's during that period of time we want to make sure we get you signed up for Part A, Part B, as well as possibly a Medigap plan if you're going to stay with original Medicare, or maybe a Medicare Advantage plan, or as well as your Part D prescription drug plan. It's during that initial election period that we want to make sure we have you signed up properly, because depending on your birthday, so for example, let's just say that we're in June, and let's start with July. Let's just say your birthday is July 15th. Well, your Medicare is going to start on July 1st. So that's why it's so important to prepare those 3 months in advance. But actually, as I mentioned in the previous show, we actually like to start having these conversations 6 months in advance. At least with 6 months in advance, you're going to know your budget. We're going to determine what plan is best for you. And then during that 3 month period, we're going to start that enrollment process for you. So all very good questions. And you want to make sure that we do not miss our initial election period, because there could be lifelong penalties for not enrolling in Part B on time, as well as lifelong penalties for not enrolling in Part D on time. So those are all the things that we talk about, as well as, maybe you're going to continue to work. That's always a big question. I'm going to continue to work. Do I need Part B? Well, again, it depends on how many employees are in your employer plan. Is there more than 20 employees? Then yeah, you can possibly delay Part B. So those are all the things that we uncover as we go through our needs analysis. A lot more seniors, I'm finding out, are continuing to work, and maybe they want to stay on their employer plan. But then after we do the cost analysis, and maybe their employer plan has a large out of pocket, and we determine what that's going to be per month. And it's interesting to find out for them that, oh wow, like my employer plan could actually cost me more than going on Medicare. So again, I don't know that answer until we go through the needs analysis with that family. But again, 3 months before, a month of your birthday, 3 months after.
Stephen, what is a Medigap?
Medigap, it's a great question. Medigap or Medicare supplemental plan. I prefer Medigap because it picks up that 20% gap. So Part A covers your hospital expenditures, and that is 80%. And Part B is your doctors, and that is 80% picked up by Medicare. Now, we never recommend just enrolling in Part A and Part B. We always discuss with the families enrolling in a Medigap plan. And those are standardized plans that the government offers. Each carrier has to offer that plan. However, the premiums for each carrier will differ based on demographics, for example, claim history, possibly how they review, medical inflation. Those are just three things that we talk about. And again, prices could change per carrier, which they do. And there's typically two plans that we talk about. We talk about Plan G and Plan N. Plan G's premium is a little bit higher than Plan N because Plan N has some different caveats. They both provide the same coverage. And that Medigap plan helps cover that 20% gap that's left from Part A and Part B. So it's very important that the family understand those plans. I explain the difference between the two plans. They're very similar, but Plan N has some differences. And Plan N is less expensive. So sometimes Plan G could be the right plan for somebody, but sometimes Plan N is a better plan because they're able to save that money. And maybe they're going to use that money. Maybe they invest that money, or maybe they understand what I talk about with cost allocation, and they take that $50 savings, for example, and they use that to buy cancer insurance or heart attack, stroke insurance. So it's all about building an umbrella, as we always talk about. What is the largest umbrella of healthcare coverage that I can possibly have? So that's where Medicare comes in.
Stephen, do guidelines change by the state?
It depends. There are different rules for Medigap in certain states and how you can sign up. There's what's called a birthday rule. In each state, different states have how they, when you enroll in a Medigap, is it based on your issue age, or is it based on attained age, or is it community rated? So yes, there are different structures for the Medigap plans in different states. So it's important to know those things as well. And that's why we always talk about just not enrolling in the Medigap plan, but understanding how it's being issued is very important.
I want to ask our TikTok audience, please tap the screen. Make sure you follow the show. If we're taking questions, we're getting a lot of questions, but they're all the same. So I'm trying to get to some new questions. We've also got people on our chat line on YouTube sending questions in. People want to know, Stephen, do you like Medicare Advantage?
Again, Medicare Advantage can be a great plan. It depends on the family we're speaking with. For that particular family, yeah, Medicare Advantage could be a great plan for them. I personally do not have a preference. My goal is to do the needs analysis and find out from you what is going to work better for you, original Medicare, Medicare Advantage. And based on our conversation, then, we will make a formal recommendation. But at that time, we've talked through this with the family. They've also kind of decided what they think will be the best. And that's why we say, okay, maybe this is going to be the best for you. That's why I ask about if you plan on traveling in the United States, or, are your doctors important to you? Because maybe, your doctors are important. And if you're thinking about a Medicare Advantage plan and your doctor is not in that plan, well, that become an issue for you. Versus if original Medicare, your doctor takes Medicare assignment. Well, again, that's not an issue.
People want to know how they can get your book, Stephen.
It's very simple. They can go on the website, www.fromme.com. And there's actually a little button on the front, on the very first page. You just click that button and you fill out your information. It will come directly to us. And once we get that, we will get all your information where to mail, and we can mail you a copy of this book, as well as some other additional very important Medicare information that we put together in a folder.
Real quickly, Stephen, God, the show goes by so fast. I saw where the president is saying as of July 1st, if you're on Medicare, you can go on, I call it the skinny injection.
Certain GLP. Yes,
yeah.
GLP injections.
Go on this for $50 a month?
Correct. $50 a month. There are some, of course, like anything else, there's some qualifications. The important thing to understand is that this is not part of the Part D prescription drug plan. This is not part of the formulary. This $50 does not go towards your Part D max out of pocket. So there's a lot of things that need to be understood on this. It's not very simple to think that I need a GLP and I'm just going to pay $50. It's more than that. There's not every GLP is on the list. So we'd have to go through the list and look at the drugs and make sure, again, you have to qualify. There are certain qualifications. It's not just I need a GLP, I'm going to pay $50 come July 1st.
But before you had to be basically a diabetic to get this, and now you do not have to be a diabetic to get
Correct.
this. So that's good.
Yep. Again, qualification. Everyone, there's questions that need to be answered. Just like anything else, there's some underwriting involved, questions to have to go through.
And it's temporary. It's going to be, I guess, till the end of 2027. Is
Correct.
that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Starts
So,
July 1st to the end of 27.
and I guess they'll determine to continue the program. But hey, it's an incredible idea that GLP-1 is probably one of the greatest things to come out. It saved a lot of people's lives.
Yep.
And like Stephen said, it's not part of your Medicare, but you're going to have access to it because it runs anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200 a month. So $50 is a pretty good deal.
Yep. And again, it's not every GLP.
Yes.
There's only certain ones. Again, there's qualification. So again, I guess, after the next 18 months when they do this, they'll determine whether or not cost effective, has it worked? I don't know the answers to those questions, but we shall see.
Well, everybody, you know what? And I kind of actually know the answer to this. A lot of people, we've only got a couple of minutes, but a lot of people want to know, do you know anything new for 2027?
Wow, that's a great question. There's always changes. They're constant regarding what costs will be. I can tell you that for the IRMA, for the Part B IRMA, which right now for an individual is $109,000, meaning if your income is your single tax filer, if your income is above $109,000, you could possibly pay a higher Part B premium. I do know that is going to increase next year. I think it's to $112,000. So that's one thing. But again, things change, and that's where open enrollment is so important, especially, learning about, your Medicare Advantage plan. Is the cost going to be the same for my Medicare Advantage plan? Are my doctors still going to be in here? As well as prescription drug plans. What is my new premium going to be possibly for my prescription drug plan? Are my medications still going to be covered? So all those things are important. Slowly throughout the year, things are coming out.
Stephen, tell people how they can get a hold of you.
Sure. They could always go on the website, as I mentioned, www.fromme.s.com. There's a contact form on there. They can always go on the contact form, fill that out. It'll come directly to me, and be more than happy to follow up with them and give them a call and set up a needs analysis. They can always call us as well. They can call me on my work cell, which is 908-268-2356.
Stephen's with us every month. Stephen, your show goes by so fast. There's so many things now with adding TikTok. There's so many more people wanting questions, and that's what Stephen's here. But I want you to get this most important thing, get out of the show. Please get an agent. Don't try to handle this yourself. Stephen will help you, guide you through everything. And I hope if we get anything through this show that you discover you need a good agent like Stephen Fromm. Stephen, thank you, bro.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate the time today. Hopefully we learned some stuff.
It's Stephen Fromm. Stephen will be back in with us next month. That will do it for us today. Hey, tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time, we will be doing our public insurance adjuster show. If you have a claim that you're having a hard time getting, you don't want to miss tomorrow's show. 5 o'clock Eastern time. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.